This is the Crookedrivercast. Who are we? We're Rob and Tom, two guys just trying to keep track of what is going on in the great state of Ohio. This is show 62 for the week of May 25th, 2026. Let's see what's going on this week. Do it. In the morning. How you doing this week?
I'm doing great.
Let's see what's going. Yeah, another week, and I think I had this conversation. I overheard a conversation, and I kind of followed away from the show. But I've been asking people throughout the week, last week, of this question. A mixed answer, but mostly they're all pretty. There's a few outliers in there, but I'm going to ask you this question: have you, or did you ever, ask your parents for dating advice, specifically your mother?
No.
No. Oh,
no.
Well, I'm in the office, and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm over. All of a sudden, start catching this conversation happening about some coworkers, two female coworkers, speaking to each other about. One of them has a child. He's 22, 23. The other one doesn't. I don't think she has any kids. No, she doesn't. And I started, what did she say? I started kind of paying attention. And basically, this is nothing new, this kind of story before from this person. But yeah, so they're going through the story about how he's talking to this girl, but he's clueless that the girl's asking him out. And mom's correcting his texts.
Oh.
Saying, no, you should write this.
Well, if he's really socially awkward, maybe that's all right.
He's not. He's not socially awkward. I mean, he's a buffoon and he's immature and he is the telltale sign of somebody who's been brought up by a smothering mother.
Oh. Ugh.
Oh yeah. This is something like I think I saw before we had kids, and there's a couple different kinds of parents that I see, and hey, you do what you got to do, but there are some parents that want to be their kid's friend the entire time, and there's some parents that don't want to be their friends at all, and there's some parents I think they're just kind of in between. But they are friends more than they are mom and dad or mom and son. So I this whole story goes through, and they kind of winding down. So I pop my head on my office, of course, in my typical shit-stirring way, and said, hey, you guys, that's an interesting conversation you guys had there, but has anyone brought up the fact that it's kind of weird that a 20-something-year-old's coming to his mother for dating advice? And they all went, what do you think their reaction was?
Oh, they're women, right?
It was, what? You never went to your parents for dating advice? I said, no. I never even came to my mind to ask my mother. No.
Yeah, that never came to my mind either.
Well, my son have a different. Yes, I completely agree. You have a different relationship.
I think, how old is the kid?
He's 22, 23, something like that.
Yeah, that is a little weird. If he was a little older and was like super serious about the girl he's, courting.
Yes.
Then maybe.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, or even like you break up and you're just sad and you want to talk about it. That's one thing.
Well, that's one thing, but dating advice, like if he was courting this girl, like really like serious intentions, it depends on the parent, I guess. I don't know if that's super bad.
I saw it as mom trying to get her son laid. That's what I felt like.
Yeah, that is weird.
I'm not sure that's what she was doing, but that's what it's going to turn out to happen. And then as we went on to the conversation, it kind of slipped into the whole dating world, what guys are looking for, what women are looking for, and the fact that her son doesn't believe in love. True love.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah, great job, Mom. And well, I said, yeah, but look what we've designed here. We've got boys that we're raising as to be boys, to be little men, to be small-minded weaklings. It's all about your feelings. Oh, what about your feelings? And then we're raising women that the most important thing for a woman in her life as she grows up through teen years and into her early 20s is what? What do you think it is? What do you think the society's pushing?
Oh, a career.
Career.
Yeah.
And I ask the questions like, not in this case, but I've asked the question like, do they talk about a family? Like family plan, like, is it all career? And people go, no. So, we're talking about this stuff and they're just like dumbfounded. I could tell they're like, when's he going to shut up?
Yeah.
I said, look at all these different, I said, guys are giving up basically. They're like, yes, no, I'm not even going to.
You know, what's the latest trend or I don't know, I guess it's a trend, but when they're surveying teens, Gen Zers, what are like late teens now? What are they considered? Gen Alpha?
I don't know. I just know I'm not a boomer. Although I may sound like that at times, but I don't know. I don't know where the cutoffs are.
Okay, so they're asking this question: what's the most important thing to you, and for your future? And most guys now, the majority of them, which it's changed, are saying they want a family, and women are saying career, and families like down like I forget what number it was, but it was like 10th. I mean, like there's 10 other things or 9 other things in front of that. And, but for the first time, men are saying family and religion women, too. What?
Yes. Women are saying career.
Yeah. And women are saying career. But I think over the next decade, that's going to start changing just because women usually follow along with what men want.
So of course I brought in the, little bit of Andrew Wilson into the discussion and said, like feminism, I said, women have been lied to for decades. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, feminism. Again, of course. I said, yeah, you've been lied to. I said, women are less happy than they ever have been. There's more single moms than there ever have been. We've got, this, which leads into all this other stuff we just talked about. And I said, it's, and I forget how I brought it up, but I started talking. I said, so, like, for example, like, what can you do? What right do women have without that they don't have to pander to men about? They don't have to pander to men for. They don't need men. So basically, I'm getting this all mixed up, but I said, hey, there's nothing you can do in life, a woman, that doesn't have something to do with a man behind it.
Yeah. Everything a woman needs and wants is up to a man to give her.
Yes, we allow
let her allow her.
Yeah. It sounds very harsh, but we because without the men allowing it, I know I'm totally screwing this up. But anyway, I said it very eloquently.
Settle down. Settle down there. No, basically that whole idea of men allowing women to do stuff just means that we allow them to do the feminism thing. We can always stop it just because we're stronger. We can take over their physically. We can just tell them to shut up and stay down, right?
Yes, there's nothing stopping men from putting women in burqas.
Yeah.
Gee, let's look at the Middle East. Has there ever been any woman army to come up and kind of overthrow the patriarchy? No.
Right.
It's never happened. They've had women leaders who have used men as an army to take land and stuff, but you've never had an army because they can't. And I said, look, basically, let's talk about this. If you snap your fingers and 50% of the women, all the women in the world just disappeared, men would die off eventually because we couldn't reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think we'd find a way. But if you snap your fingers and all women disappear, or all men disappear, women would die within days, weeks. within a year. They'd all be dead because you couldn't run a power plant. You wouldn't know how to run the water treatment plant. I mean, some
Pretty
could.
much, yeah.
They could possibly learn it, but by the time you learned it,
there are outliers.
Sure.
There's the extremes where women, there are women that can do jobs that men can do, like on a like
China from the WWF. There's an outlier. She's 6'3",
yeah.
She kicked my butt.
Well, I'm just saying, there are women that can weld, but how many are there?
Yep.
That can work on an oil rig? How many are, and how many want to and are willing to do that?
Women are not barred from the NFL. And I guarantee you, if you could have a woman that was even close to be good enough to be a third string quarterback or whatever, they'd be a third string kicker. Mm-hmm. They'd be on some team somewhere.
Didn't they try a kicker not too long ago somewhere? I
think occasionally you get one in training camp or something like that. But
and then they totally botch it. I think one actually played. I forget. Damn, it's been a while. I thought one played in a game, like a preseason game, and the field goal attempt wasn't even close.
But women have one thing that men can't. They do one thing that men can't. They can actually grow life inside of them. So, this is why we allow you. You have. So that's kind of. I would check out Andrew Wilson if anyone hasn't. He's one of the best debaters I've seen. And you can learn a lot from listening to him debate, especially the left.
Actually, his wife's book is better. Talking about feminism.
Yes,
it's a cult, and we've been lied to.
Yeah, much like today, a very vocal minority of women made this happen. The suffrage movement. And you get back to go ahead.
Women probably had more power back in the day, as being the head of the house, or not the head of the household, but
the homemaker.
The homemaker. The husbands were going to do what the women wanted.
A lot of times, yes, because happy wife, a happy life. That goes back from the beginning of time.
Wars were started. Women started wars because the king said, "Oh, damn it! Okay, I'll do it.
I want that. Okay, I'll do it."
Well, no, we've seen it plenty.
Yeah. So it was a quite interesting conversation, and their eyes glassed over by halfway through. So, but I definitely like steering the pot, and I guarantee you they're not going to.
Andrew Wilson can, for anybody that hasn't watched him, he's really good at debating, but he can. I don't know how to. He puts me off sometimes because I don't know if he always does it in the way you should. So it's a little. I don't want to say harsh.
Oh, he's harsh.
Yeah, he's harsh, but harsh. You can be harsh without being crass. I guess sometimes he's a little too crass. If you really want to get the normal, the everyday person to see him, watch him.
Fair point. I think he would argue that it's a little too late for that. It's going to be, and it's his personality. But what I see in him is when he debates, Destiny and all these other people on the left. And this happens to me when you talk to anybody who's really lefty or progressive. When you're trying to hammer them on a point, they're constantly throwing stuff to get you off, to deflect, to move you off the point. And you start on school education, and within 5 minutes you're talking about the Iran-Iraq War, or the Iran War, not the Iraq War, not the Iran-Iraq War. All of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, we're talking about something that happened 25 years ago. And what I see from him is he pulls them back. Nope. I'll concede that point. Fine. Let's talk about this. No, we're not talking about, and it's really something to see.
Well, most of the time they also have a moderator there, so that helps.
Yeah, but even he does them on live streams where there is no moderator, and he's very good at keeping a very logical, factual argument and taking the emotion out. I think that's where some of the crassness comes from, because he's taking all the emotion out of it. That's one of the best things anyway. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting conversation. I thought I could ask people, if you would like to let me know, do you often try to get your kids a piece by helping them get a date? Crookedrivercast@gmail.com.
Yeah, that is weird. Getting back to that is bizarre. That boy should.
He's not a. Well, he is a boy. I should say.
Well,
he's not a man.
He's not a man, and I don't know if he ever will be at this point.
No. I mean, well, if you ever met him, you would definitely agree. Nice looking kid, but man. Okay.
Is she divorced?
Yes. Oh, yes. Many years ago.
Okay, so there's no father.
He's involved, but with that kind of dynamic, I don't think he's that involved because it's a long story. I've worked with him for many years. He was a 12 years old, I think, or something like that. So it's been a while. It's a losing cause on his end. I could see. I'm not saying he's the greatest or anything. He's probably a douche too, but like I wouldn't be involved. I'd be like, okay, fine. If you're going to let him do whatever, okay. Here's the reason why. They're the house. I don't know if you knew this when you were a kid. They're the house that you could go over with there was no rules.
Oh, the cool mom.
The cool mom house.
Not the cool mom, but the party mom.
The lazy mom house was what I would call it today. Yeah, the party house. Back in the day, I was like, ooh, cool to have one of those. But now I'm like, oh, I can't.
Has any of his friends banged the mom?
Oh. Wait.
I mean, like at 14. I have
no idea.
I'm talking about like at 14.
I don't know. But now I'm curious. Anyway, that's a long way to go to say feminine is a lie, and I just dropped the bomb on my coworkers.
Hey, son, is your friend coming over?
I wouldn't doubt it. Anyway, wouldn't doubt it. Moving on to actual news. I don't know. There's national stuff going on. I mean, we've got a deal with Iran. We don't have a deal. I'm not sure what's going on. Cuba's about to fall, but Cuba's doing military drills. They're not doing drills. They're sending out videos on social media about them running drills. I mean, seriously, it was recorded on a over-the-shoulder VHS camera. That's what it looks like.
Really?
I don't think it's recent.
Well, they just indicted Castro, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, indicted Castro, so you know what's coming next. There's an aircraft carrier coming in the area.
Their power's going to be going out soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the aircraft carrier is there. We could just fly over. Like, launch them from Houston, from Texas or Florida or something. Or Alabama. I mean, we got to have bases around there, but nope. That carrier holds a lot of weight.
Well, that's pretty intimidating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going on. Got Cuba.
Now,
some kind of Iran deal.
Castro's probably going to try to work with them, right? He's like 90.
I know the government of Cuba has been trying to work. I don't know if that's by his design or just they're trying to save their own asses.
Well, they say he's retired, but
he's really running it.
Right.
So are they trying to do look at what Venezuela did and say, it was him, not me. And then that way, because that seems like Trump's doctrine now is we need regime change, but you're going to have to figure out who that is. Like you change the regime. We're not. We're just going to give you the opportunity to change it.
Right.
And then we're going to watch you. If you're not honest, we're going to do it again. And so if they look at that, I could see them going, well, it's him. Look at that guy over there. The old guy over there. Get him.
They're doing basically the same thing they did to Venezuela, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought that meeting last week was kind of a cover your butt kind of thing for the higher ups in the current government now.
Mm.
But on a completely unrelated note, I pulled this story because it just seemed weird. Not weird, just out of the blue. Trump says he's sending 5,000 more troops to Poland.
Jak się masz?
Na zdrowie.
Nice driveway.
Nice driveway. That's a better way to say it. So this is an IdeaStream article. Basically, President Trump said that U.S. will send an additional 5,000 troops to Poland, stirring confusion following weeks of changing statements from Trump and his administration about reducing, not increasing, the American military footprint in Europe. And so that's basically, to me, the story here is how they're all like, what's going on? All the confusion, our allies. Oh my gosh. And I think Trump says something, based on a successful election of the now president of Poland, Karl. I mean, I get that one.
Nawrocki.
Nawrocki. Yeah, there you see, you got that in there. Who I was proud to endorse, and our relationship with him. I'm pleased to announce that the United States will be sending an additional 5,000 troops to Poland.
No, cool. So
I can't. What's the confusion? So now we have a leader of Poland that has apparently been friendly to us, and now we're going to send more troops. Kind of the opposite of France and England, and who kind of just said, "Screw you guys." I just
figured they sent the 5,000 that they pulled out of Germany to Poland.
That could be it. Yeah, because
when I saw this, my first thought was like, oh, they're just the 5,000 troops they're taking out of Germany, they're sending to Poland. Which is like right next door.
Yeah. Yes, they just need to change the scenery. They've really run through Germany. Then they got to check out Poland. Poland's a nice place. It says Trump and the Pentagon have said in recent weeks that they were drawing down at least 5,000 troops in Germany after Chandler Merz said U.S. was being humiliated by the Iranian leadership and criticized what he called a lack of strategy in the war. And then quickly responded later, said, that's not what I meant. That's exactly, no, totally pulled back his words.
Probably think about things before you spit them out.
Yes, they are definitely not used to having
somebody with balls.
Somebody with a pair of big brass balls to say, "Oh, really? You don't say." And it's probably the best thing of this term of Trump is the realization, or not the realization, the fact that we have a president that's willing to say, "Okay, hey guys, we do realize that you need us more than we need you, so we need to adjust the relationship accordingly, please. You do what we say," kind of thing. Before it was complete reverse. We've been taken advantage of by Europe for decades. And everybody's just unbelievably confused on a president that makes them pay for their disrespect of the United States.
Idea Stream really tried pushing the
confusion.
Trump is so bad. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Doesn't know what he's doing. That's everything. With the straight, I sat down with my buddy. We generally agree on a lot of these things. I mean, we disagree on Ukraine. He was all for Ukraine, but all of a sudden, Iran. I said, so what do you think is going on? Well, I'm not sure what's going on with the Strait. It doesn't look like they had a plan. I said, hold on. Are you really saying that our military, $900 billion a year, doesn't have 16 different strategies for Iran? It's been 40 some years. Oh, well, I go, so you think that Trump was like, that Trump drew up the plans for the war and gave it to the army or to the military? I don't think so. I think he said, give me the plans you have and I'll pick the one I want. Okay. Yeah. Same thing. I don't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. There's no strategy. Okay. So that's more of a dig on our military than is Trump.
Yeah. Well, there's no strategy really. I mean, you take Venezuela, you're on top of Cuba. What was the first thing he did?
Hello? Okay, that was fun. So nobody in podcast land knows it, but I spent the last 5 minutes trying to reconnect because the internet went out. Yay! Thanks, AT&T.
Fiber.
Well, the power flickered, but I'm all in battery backup, and so is my network. So I heard it flicker, and the lights came back on, and then you went dead. All my network stuff was running. I think AT&T went down because the power flickered, which is, I started pulling out
more backup than the big guys do.
Yeah, I started pulling out my my old modem for the cable because I still got that line live. So, but after a nice reboot, I think we're okay for now at least. So come on, AT&T, get some battery backups. Checking them out on Amazon.
They are about as, they know what they're doing, just like Trump knows what he's doing.
See, there we go. Good way to circle back on that, Tom. But hey, let's keep moving here because Trump's saying 5,000 more troops to Poland. Thank you, Poland. That's basically what Trump said. Thanks for the support. We'll give you some more troops. Yeah, we're just going to take the German troops and teach them how to speak Polish and move them to that place. He's very transactional and people are not used to it. I think that's where we're going with it. So moving on. Our first story, Ohio story, is just more of the same from last week. Is the fallout from Medicaid fraud has started. Let's get right into it. Let's listen to Luke Rosiak. What was his last name?
Rosiak. That's it.
He was in front of the Ohio State Legislature this last week. And let's hear how Luke was told that the crackdown on fraud, is racist from one of our critters in Columbus. See what he has.
Also, I would like to point out that the majority of people on Medicaid in Ohio are not from the Somali community or from communities of people of color. The majority are actually white. So for you to imply the racist information that you're
on Medicaid or home health?
On Medicaid and home health. We are... When you look at the numbers of people that are in Ohio, the white population versus people of color, you're implying that most of the fraud is happening in communities of color.
I'm not implying it, I'm stating it.
Oh.
I would like to see actual numbers besides the overall.
Just please, through the chair, with your back and forth.
Sorry, I would just like to see true data and numbers, because I think what's being presented here is very different from what we heard during our joint committee.
Your question doesn't even make sense. I mean, you're acting like it's either or through the chair. Of course, it is true what you said. There are these minimal statements. That does not imply that there was not additional fraud, which they failed to detect. They very much did fail to detect that. You mentioned the AG. Well, the AG also told this committee months ago that Ohio law caps Medicaid fraud as a low-level felony. So you could steal $15 million from a person, you're going to jail for a long time. You steal $15 million from Medicaid under Ohio law, it's not even possible to prosecute it as a high-level felony. You can also see how these exist, the discretion of prosecutors in jurisdictions like Franklin County, how they plead it down. There's a guy named Aliou Conte, one of the most recent Medicaid fraud prosecutions. What did Franklin County do? They let him plead down to a misdemeanor and then they expunged his record.
Racist. I'm not implying it. I'm literally stating the fact. And she went, And continuing on with this, let's listen to Luke again in front of another one of our state legislatures. About let's hear some examples of how he handles the rabid suicidal empathy in our state legislature.
Welcome back. Ohio leaders.
Cost of providing services. The whole idea with this home care waiver was that if we can bring people into their home and a few things. One, it would save money. It's much more expensive to send people to long-term care facilities. But
save money.
Two, the dignity of life and being able to live and grow old in your home. Do you think that there is a more scalpel approach to this versus kick everybody off that we've thought, because there's some doctors and some places that are overdoing this? Or do we look specifically at the doctors that we're worried about, at the folks that we're worried about, versus closing the whole program?
It's a totally fair question, and I think the time to ask it would have been about 10 years ago. And I think that if people had been more interested in the abuses, and there's people, again, one of them, Samani, didn't seem very interested in fraud at all. Fraud does exist. She's not at all concerned about rooting it out.
Nope.
And this is what happens. It's too late now for that. I can tell you the federal government is going to come into states that it doesn't think are have done enough, and it's not going to take that scalpel approach. So I think the time to reform things in Ohio has probably passed. And at this point, you guys have to take dramatic action, or the result is going to be the feds are going to yank more of this Medicaid program, not just for personal services, but potentially for home health in its entirety, or even other government, other Medicaid services. I think that the idea, so, and I thought I made this, I guess I should, maybe I didn't make the point well enough, but the dollar amount that you mentioned, I mean, that's very key here. This was sold to us as a way to save money. That did not work. It absolutely was, the premise was false. And the reason is because the number of people who claim to need a nursing home is elastic. Okay. So in order for this to save money, let's say you had 1,000 people who were eligible for a nursing home in Ohio. And now it turns out that half of them are willing to and are able to receive care in their house instead. So now you've got 500 people at home and 500 in a nursing home. That's not what happened here. When we said you could stay home, instead of having 1,000 people who claimed they were so sick they needed a nursing home, now you had 100,000 people who were so sick they needed a nursing home. The math doesn't work. It was sold with a false premise. And also, the dignity of aging in place. The irony here is many of these people are in their 50s. It's absurd. It's insulting to us because we all know people or are people who are in our 60s or 70s. This is not even old most in this day and age. There are people in their 80s who are still working. Just because you're in your 60s doesn't mean you need somebody to come vacuum your house. It's preposterous. And we don't even have a breakdown of the medical conditions that are resulting in this home health care. And that would be the minimum we would need. And I think it is too late to kind of start assembling that breakdown now. I think the federal government, at this point, it's, you guys terminate this personal services waiver or you risk the J.D. Vance and the federal government terminating more of your Medicaid dollars.
Give me a hell yeah.
Yeah.
They're just trying to take money away from Medicaid.
Yeah, just trying to hurt people because they're racist. And what's going to happen to all these people? You know what? I think I need somebody to come in and vacuum my house, wash my dishes.
He did hurt your back the other week, right?
Yeah. See, where's my Medicaid? So of course, now we run into the governor's race where this is all spilling over, and we've got. Well, let's just get right into it because let's listen to the left wing News Channel 5 and what they have to say about all this.
Are pushing for major change to the state's Medicaid system. More than 3 million Ohioans, that's 1 in 4, use it, but that could all change.
Your Columbus Bureau reporter Morgan Trow has a lot of different perspectives on this, including from providers, Democrats, and Republicans who say they will prevent fraud that happened on their watch.
We need a fresh approach.
Some Ohio Republicans say that the state Medicaid system needs an overhaul.
When you have criminals, fraudsters, thieves, claiming money for themselves, it diverts money away from those for whom these programs were intended.
After the conservative outlet, The Daily Wire, published a story alleging rampant fraud, gubernatorial candidate Vivek Ramaswamy has announced his plans to fight the not yet proven abuse.
The state of Ohio does not yet have the full aligned incentive to make the prosecution of Medicaid fraud a top priority.
Ramaswamy and legislative leaders blamed Governor Mike DeWine for what they call a lack of oversight, claiming home health care providers paid by Medicaid are not doing their jobs. DeWine has denied any widespread issue, but said there have been nearly 1,100 Medicaid fraud convictions since 2019 when he took office.
There's been no real evidence.
But if the allegations are legitimate, House Minority Leader Donnie Isaacson says that Republicans are responsible.
The idea that people who are currently in government, who have been running the government for the last decade, would stand up and say, there's fraud, waste, and abuse, it's rampant. The finger should point right back at themselves and say, they have failed to do their jobs.
More than that, I brought up to Speaker Matt Huffman that in the last budget, he got rid of the Joint Medicaid Oversight Committee, a body that looked into waste, fraud, and abuse. If there's...
Okay, so here's our gotcha question here. So in the last budget, I think they got rid of this oversight committee because it was doing such a great job overseeing all these people and the fraud. So this is, of course, Morgan's gotcha question.
Fraud. How are you not responsible?
It sounded good when we started, I think, for the folks responsible for creating it, but essentially wasn't effective in trying to get to the bottom of these things.
But for some providers, they worry that overhauling Medicaid will mean less access and funding.
These type of overhauls, when you can't see what it does to a small business in rural communities that are out there doing the right thing, it makes us look like we're not.
Do you think that it's possible that this is just another way to cut Medicaid?
No. These are allegations of fraud that should be taken seriously. These are taxpayer dollars. It's not a way to cut Medicaid. I think we've already seen that there's overspending in Medicaid.
The governor's team says that they're investigating, but that nothing has been proven yet. At the Ohio State House, I'm Columbus Bureau reporter Morgan Trout.
Yes. She is so
full of
trying to, there's that. But I mean, she's like really trying to steer this in one direction. Overhaul the state Medicaid system to combat unproven allegations. That's what is written. I think that's what they said in the story too, right?
Yes.
But whoever writes that? They're allegations. Allegations are always unproven until they're proven.
Yes. Just like
she's such a
they do with Trump.
Twat.
Yes. Did I get it again?
What?
Okay. Yes, unproven allegations. What do they always do with Trump? It's like unproven claims or without evidence. Without evidence, he claimed. Well, right. Yeah, it's a claim. And my
but
response,
there is evidence. Most of the time, there is evidence. It's not proven evidence.
Yes,
evidence can be a lot of things.
No proof. No proof. Okay, so you can't talk about something without any proof.
You have to talk about it. You have to go there before you can prove it. I wish I could call her and just call her you don't want me to say it.
What? So, okay. I agree with the pointing at DeWine and the Republican Party. That's good. But what you're trying to say is, so what you're trying to say is this person is gonna help us out? Let's just hear.
What I'm mostly hearing from Ohioans is cost of everyday life. It is absolutely, people are doing everything right. They're working harder than they have ever worked, but there is no more breathing room. It's the cost of housing and rent, 50% of most Ohioans' income. It is healthcare costs in a big way. We're seeing a lot of medical debt. We're seeing a lot of folks not even having access to healthcare. Our educational programs are under attack. Our electric bills are up. Our property taxes are going up. And our childcare is unaffordable. 95% of what they say isn't controversial. I am running against a self-funding billionaire who truly has ideas that stun most Ohioans. You were right. Medicaid and Medicare are mistakes. When we have 11 rural hospitals on the verge of collapse and people going an hour to an hour and 15 minutes just to deliver a baby. We actually have babies being born roadside. He says things like people are struggling because they're lazy and mediocre and not working hard enough. And that is absolutely not the Ohioans I know. The list goes on and on, but I can tell you, our message is really resonating with Ohioans.
Yeah. Americans are lazy. Look at look at the bags under your eyes. You can see how lazy. I don't know what that's anything to do with.
Well, I don't know. They got to ask their mom for dating advice.
Oh, precisely. They're doing all the things right, Tom. They're doing everything right. They're spending $150 a month on streaming services. They've got a $300 a month cell phone bill between 4 people. They're buying massive amounts of junk food every week, hundreds of dollars a week of junk food and pop. It's doing everything right because they just don't have the money. Most people just don't have the money because they're blowing it on all bunch of other crap. That's the person that's the one I'm gonna trust with cleaning up the fraud. No. Oh, you mean the one who worked with DeWine, the guy in? So wait, you were on his team during all this, doing a lot of this, huh? In your medical and it's Medicaid, huh? Yeah, I think the problem is DeWine.
Oh yeah,
I think the problem is a Republican who is a Republican in name only.
Well, Listen,
actually, probably not. It's probably the other way around.
You could blame the Democrats, you could blame the Republicans, whatever you want. It's just blame the freaking leaders of the state.
Yes. And unlike the Democrats who would just let this keep going, taking a sliver out of your own eye first, right? I think that's enough. That's enough of this nonsense. I don't believe anyone even cares about this fraud. I think most of the legislature don't even care. And if we're looking at the news media, they really don't care either because they really haven't brought up crap about this.
It's unproven.
Unproven allegations.
Yeah, there's just a building with 200 offices with nobody in it.
Amy
200
says,
doctors' offices with nobody in it.
Yeah. 40% of our budget for Medicaid in the state of Ohio is $47 billion a year. 40% of that is going to one county in Ohio, with 40% of that money going to like 6 buildings, all owned by the same person. 10% of all that budget goes to 6 buildings in Columbus. Yeah, unproven. I mean, what are we even talking about here?
She defends fraud.
Well, Vivek called Medicaid a mistake.
She's defending fraud.
Medicaid expansion is a mistake. It is a mistake. We went from $500 million a year to $1 billion a year in this home health aid thing. It's doubled in size. It's a huge problem. It needs to be. You need to get rid of it. That's what Luke is saying. No, if you don't pay attention and start cutting this, Daddy Trump's going to be coming in and cutting a lot more than you guys are ever thinking or dreaming of cutting. So you better get your shit in line, or somebody else is going to do it for you. And you want more money for all this other stuff. You're talking about hospitals closing up because they don't have enough money. Maybe, I don't know, just maybe if we didn't have all this fraud, we can increase payments and actually have a good healthcare system. But no, let's just please add more money to the budget because that's what solves everything.
If the government's involved, you can never make it better.
And speaking of just add more money to the budget, it'll solve any problem. Here's a story from the I-Team. We got the Gaelic duo, Ed and Peggy. So they did a story. This brings up a topic I was just recently discussing at a family event. So the I-Team, any top jobs cut at the Cleveland school layoffs. So Cleveland, they've laid off like 400 jobs they cut. 146 of them were teachers. And the question was brought up. They wanted to look into how many of the high-paying jobs got cut. And this is actually something I was talking about at a family event. I have a cousin who is a teacher at Cleveland Public Schools. And I know she's been there since she got out of college. I think her first job was in Cleveland. She's still there. And
she's in Cleveland?
Yeah, she doesn't live in Cleveland, no.
Right.
She's in the Cleveland School District. Yeah, she's a Cleveland school teacher.
Oh, okay.
And I've always known, we've talked a little bit about it, but since the last couple of years, I really haven't seen her on and off, family events. I'm not going to sit there and start talking about, politics and deep issues, unless it comes up. But we're talking and sitting down at the table and the subject kind of came up and I said, yeah, it's interesting because I forget how we started. I can't stand the Cleveland School District and you work there. So I'm interested in your perspective, something to that effect. Like, what do you have to say about it? What's your, and I was kind of shocked she's still there. And I think one of the reasons she's still there is she said the benefits and the pay are outstanding.
Yeah.
They don't even come close to any private school you can go to.
She's a teacher.
Yep.
She's a high school teacher?
I don't know what it is. I think no, it's not high school.
Okay.
And I think she's at a good school because I think the school's kind of on the outskirts of Cleveland. So it's not like in the middle of some of the worst areas of Cleveland. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
She could be in a good pocket.
Yeah, she's in a good pocket and she loves their school. She says they have great parent interactions at her school, compared to other schools that she talks about or talks to. in other parts of Cleveland.
So her school is not in jeopardy of closing or losing jobs or anything?
There were some teachers that were cut.
Okay.
From her school. Usually younger ones. And where she's finding out is, the starting rate at the private schools is considerably less. And
that probably looks better on your resume.
The benefits are considerably less. What I mean by that, I think it's the other way around. I think, and I brought this up to her. I said, I'm sorry. I don't mean to insult you, but I'm about to say this analogy. I said, it sounds like the Cleveland School District is like the Cleveland Browns. They have to overpay to get anybody to come.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I said,
I think the benefit like private schools have is that it looks good on a young teacher's resume that they can go somewhere else and make more money. So they're willing to start for less.
And that's what I said. I know at our kids' schools, a lot of the early education, pre-K, kindergarten, there's a little bit of turnover there because they're usually right out of college or soon thereafter.
Yeah.
And usually lower paying, so they're moving up and stuff like that. So I understand that. But I also look at it like that maybe that's the market. Maybe that's what the market will pay for a teacher. I think the fact that the Cleveland Public Schools has endless cash, basically. I know they don't, but I mean, some of these benefits are like the matching on the 401k are enormous, like triple what most places are.
But like, why? Okay, so I'm looking at this article here. One of the positions they got rid of was an IT officer.
Yeah, you want to hear a clip? Breakdown?
Yeah. All I was going to say was, why is this officer making $191? It's kind of high, isn't it?
For an IT position? Is that what it's saying?
IT officer, which I guess I'm not familiar with that.
What is an IT officer?
I don't know. Just a manager? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Why is he an officer? That's weird. That's a weird.
Oh, it's 191. That's quite a bit. I know like higher end IT guys can make some dough, but that sounds like a lot.
I know, but at a public school with public funds, is that the place that's supposed to have the highest paid? I don't think so.
Maybe he's got to dodge bullets going to work.
I mean, yes, he probably does. That's why they have to pay him $191,000. Otherwise, they're not going to get anybody.
Maybe. I don't know.
Let's listen to what the Gaelic duo says. Let's see.
Okay.
What they had to say.
Outrage over Cleveland teacher layoffs. So the I-Team investigated. What about the highest paid school district executives?
Last month, the Cleveland Metropolitan School District announced 410 job cuts, including layoffs of 146 teachers.
So we requested a list of the 25 administrators earning the most money.
And we checked how many of those jobs will be cut.
Listen to the view of one employee losing her job.
The people who are on the ground, hands-on, day in and day out with our students are being sent away when the people who work in the ivory tower are still there.
Change is hard, but building brighter futures is a plan.
Records show the district CEO tops the pay list at more than $299,000 a year.
The school district says it's cutting 4 of the highest paid administrator jobs.
Positions with salaries of $191,000, $160,000,
$154,000, and $151,000.
So what are the job functions of the positions being cut? They include an IT officer, a senior high principal, a manager over multiple principals in schools, and a manager over after-school activities no longer being offered.
I'm actually impressed with the district that they did cut some of the people that were actually making money.
We took our findings to the president of the teachers union.
He gives the district credit, but he also looks at the bigger picture. The school district is closing or merging dozens of schools. District officials say they are facing financial issues and declining enrollment.
There could always be more cuts made to the top. Again, when we're closing a third of our buildings, I would think we need or wouldn't need a third of those top level administrators, but they seem to protect their own.
The union has fought back against the massive layoffs, striking a deal to save 60 of the teaching jobs.
Now the records answer some of the questions about how far job cuts reach at the top. In Cleveland, Peggy Gallick.
Ed Gallick, Fox 8, I-Team.
Which one of these people are offering to take a pay cut to save a teacher or a couple teachers? What if they all took a $20,000 pay cut? They could save a few teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all for the kids, huh? Yeah. So, hey, and this is kind of what we brought up. I said, here's what I've seen. Enrollment is dropping a little bit, a 1 or 2%. That's what I said. 1 or 2% a year they're losing, and maybe it's flattening out now at this point, but it's cut in half. You've got teachers at the same kind of level as far as staffing, and the only thing increasing is administrators by a lot, like skyrocketing. And one of the reasons is they're closing schools, but they're not getting rid of these administrators. A third of the schools have closed. They've lost half their enrollment in the last 20 years. And they're crying because they have to let teachers go. They literally let somebody go that was in charge of a program that was no longer happening. What was he still doing there?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they gave him some other responsibilities, but his title stayed the same. And
I just looked up IT officer, and I guess that's on the low end for an IT officer.
What is an IT officer?
Okay, so I asked what the typical salary range is. So in a large company or healthcare clinic, it's $250 to $280. That's a medium. IT director is about $165 medium for mid-level organizations. And then you have this one at the school is $197, which is on the upper end of for schools. It's high for schools.
Yeah, but I mean, they have the position is IT officer.
Well, here's what they do. So I just wanted to mention a general IT manager is 100 to 125 medium. Anyways, okay, so what do? Is they develop and implement district-wide technology plan aligned with educational goals, advise the superintendents and CEO on tech investment and priorities, oversee networks, servers, cloud systems, cybersecurity and data privacy, educational technology, budget and operation support and training, compliance.
Like a CTO, basically. Chief Technology Officer.
Yep. So, that just shocked me, that salary. So I got to start looking into changing careers.
I don't think any of those salaries or any of those stats are relevant to a public school.
Yeah, okay.
Because those are all profit-driven companies or nonprofits, I guess. Maybe Cleveland Schools is a nonprofit. No, we're not, but somebody for IT for insurance company is a little different than the IT for Cleveland Public Schools, that kind of stuff. They're overpaying. This is it's probably a lot of school districts are doing the same thing.
Well, I do know,
probably doing the same thing.
I did see what some administrators were making, just because my wife's been looking for a job, and it is on the upper level pay.
Yeah.
As far as, it would be like the pay is actually higher than if you go to like a large corporation.
Has anyone looked at what we're getting for this money? Because I don't think any of these people deserve to get paid this much with the way the Cleveland schools are.
I'm not going to blame the lower end people, but if a principal is pulling in $300,000 a year, you kind of scratch your head and go, well, what's going on here? You only got 40% of the people, of the kids graduating. Why is this person making this kind of money?
Literacy rates would be the literacy rates, graduation rates, attendance would be all the things you should be graded on.
Yeah.
Kind of like profit margins and stuff like that. But I don't think you deserve any. You deserve to take all your salaries and chop them in half. That's what I say. $191,000 in Cleveland. I'm sure they don't live in Cleveland, but anyway.
Not on that salary.
No, no. I mean, you could. There's a couple places you could live in Cleveland.
Sure, you could, but
nice.
Probably not.
So
probably work from home too.
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know an IT person that doesn't work from home at this point.
To some level, yeah. Every once in a while, they got to drag themselves in, but anywho, at that note, I would say let's remind everybody to check out the blog every Monday when the show drops. We got the blog that comes out at crookedrivercast.com. Has all the stories we talked about. A lot of the clips are in those stories you can listen to. check them out. Tell us where we're right. Tell us where we're wrong if you feel, and give us some feedback. Send us your stories, what you see it's interesting while you're going through while you're doom scrolling and you see something interesting, shoot us an email, crookedrivercast@gmail.com, crookedrivercast@gmail.com. We appreciate you listening. Share the show. Send it to a friend or two. Really appreciate that. Moving along. Let's whip through these quick takes here, Tom. I got, first is Ohio lawmakers move forward on a constitutional amendment. And let me pull it up because there we go. Okay. Ohio lawmakers move forward with a constitutional amendment requiring photo ID. Okay. Sounds good, right? So what they want to do sounds like they want to codify our current law that has I think they passed in 22 that has voter ID for registering and stuff. They want to put it in the Constitution. So the state legislature can get a supermajority if they got over 60 votes. That's enough to get it on the ballot. And then they want to try to get it on November's ballot. And I'm thinking, good, right? Not a bad idea. I mean, laws can be changed.
It sounds good to me. It sounded good. And then when I listened to Marcel.
Yep. Let's listen a little bit from Marcel. This is a couple minutes long, but this is from, I don't know who this person is. I think I've seen her before. Stephanie Stock.
Yeah, she's got looks like she's from Cleveland and has a podcast called Straight Up.
Yeah. I think I've heard her name come across, but that Stock sticks out. But she's got a podcast because every idiot's got a podcast now. So let's listen to a little bit. Oh, wait, was I that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I resemble that comment.
Hi, this is Stephanie Stock, president of Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom, an advocate for conservative policy and the protection of our constitutional liberties. Welcome to today's episode of Stephanie Stock Straight Up. Today, we're talking with former SOS candidate Marcel Strebich on the importance of photo ID specifically, and why this new voter ID ballot initiative is really just a smoke and mirrors attempt to manipulate voter turnout in November. So, Marcel, why don't you just take it away here? And spell this out for voters, because it's just another day in Columbus.
It's just another day, and it just seems like we live in deja vu. Yes. So I woke up a couple days ago to learn that for however long period of time, the legislature was working behind the scenes in Ohio to put forward what is actually pretty significant if you think about it, which is a voter ID / photo ID requirement that they want to put on the November ballot, which would take Ohio's existing law, which we passed in 2022 for voter ID. And I'll talk about the issues that law has here in a second. But they want to take that and they want we, the voter, to come out. We need reasons, right, to come and vote. So they want us to come out and vote for this to go in the Constitution. And the legislature is going to facilitate that with a supermajority vote that they have of 60-some legislators.
Okay, think of marriage amendment in the Constitution, because this was the reason they had this during Bush's second term. This is what they're trying to do. It's something that whips up the base on the ballot. Okay, so not necessarily anything wrong with that, except as he continues, you'll hear.
So I got to thinking, well, this is interesting. Because for the last 6 months, we've had a bill languishing in the Ohio General Government Committee in the House called HB 577. And what I and other people have been trying to do for the last 4 years is fix the broken voter ID bill that I just brought up from 2022.
Fix it.
And so why is it broken? It's broken because it exempted an entire vulnerable category of voters, and that category is mail-in and absentee ballots. Because in Ohio, you don't need a photo ID in accordance with our law from that time to vote by mail or absentee. And so you do, though, if you vote in person. So we have an unfair, inconsistent, unequal application of law. And I and other advocates, to include sponsor Ron Ferguson, which is a unique clue why this isn't moving, by the way, we can talk about that, have got this bill ready to go to enact it so that we can protect the November 2026 election for real. And what we have found is that after giving proponent testimony last month, it's going to go nowhere. because of the way that the speaker has run that group and is going to not allow it. So the question becomes,
politics.
Why vote
they don't like
on
each other.
a amendment that simply codifies the defective voter ID bill if they won't enact this bill, which would actually allow that amendment has some teeth? So the position that Grassroots and others are taking here is you must pass and enact so that it is present and operating this photo ID requirement by November. And then if you want to ask the voters to come out and codify it, then we're happy to do it because we have some teeth to the amendment.
That's enough. Get the idea. There's, as this happens, they talk about later, it's a 20-minute interview that she does with him. They do this all the time. Somebody comes up with a really good bill, like they're saying this bill that they've been working on, Marcel and his group have been working on, has some teeth in it. But what happens is then the state legislatures that are there start putting in other bills that are just kind of more like virtue signaling. And that's one they go with. This happens over and over again. So they can say, well, we passed the bill. And everybody goes, oh, they all go, let's see, a very good job. No, this one. Very good job. My finger go to the right button ever. And they can say, great job. You did such a good job. We'll vote for you again. But really, they didn't do anything. Because what's the point of voter ID requirement if you're not required on a mail-in ballot? That is that, I guess. So I think it's not going to.
Do they? Do we have to show? No, never mind.
To show ID when you go to vote. But I think this law did.
I understand that, but when you register.
Yeah. That's what this law did, though, didn't it?
Yeah. I forget. Yeah. I think that was more for the federal. Like they wanted to show proof of citizenship.
I mean, I think Marcel has a pretty good point as far as it's kind of pointless unless you also do the same with mail-in ballots.
Yeah. How would you do that electronically, I guess, right?
Yeah, before you get sent the ballot.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, somehow, they have to verify your identity some way. I mean, I think almost any way would be better than the current way, which is nothing as far as I can see.
Well, I would think, like, when you request it, they have your address because you're registered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a tricky thing.
Mm-hmm. Next on the list of tricky things is the big data center debate that's been going on. I've got a couple articles in there you can check out. Economists say they don't think data centers are worth it. Business community, where I put in my notes here? Where is my data center notes? The Greater Cleveland Partnership, GCP, is saying not a great idea. We got to have this. Having bans and moratoriums is not a good idea. You got some economists. There you go. Agree that data centers not worth it for the tax. The tax breaks are not worth it because you don't get the jobs. If you ban, here's a good point I saw from this article is if you do a moratorium on data centers in your county or city, and the next city doesn't, and they build one there, most of the downsides to a data center you will still get, but zero upside. Because if they're right next to your city or in a different county and they start building up infrastructure, you're going to end up paying for it. They're going to be sucking your water out of the ground too because you're connected to the same whatever. So there's kind of that kind of stuff. So check it out. Let us know what your opinion on data center is, please. Crookedrivercast@gmail.com. Put that in for you.
Thank you.
And moving along, I guess, to next story we got. Oh, this is a good one. I like this one. So local businessman has been sentenced to prison for misuse of COVID relief funds. The reason I pulled this is for one reason alone. And isn't this the same thing the county just did with COVID money? Cuyahoga County? You know what I'm referring to?
Trying to remember.
Yeah. So 40 to $50 million was used from COVID relief funds to buy land. Right. To buy land for a prison. This guy applied for PPP loans on a business that's already closed to open another business. So technically, yes, he did. He was not honest about it, but he took the funds that was supposed to save his business and opened another business. So I get there's a problem with that there. Kind of did lie about it. But the county of Cuyahoga County took the money that the federal government gave you to, protect people, not lay people off that you've been sitting on for years, and bought a plot of land to force the county to build a new jail there. Great use of COVID money. I mean, totally not a misuse at all. As a matter of fact,
I was wondering where you were going to go with this.
Yeah. Huh. As a matter of fact, this is the county.
Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
Interesting how they can misuse COVID money, but we can't.
I lost the link.
Oh,
it's not in notes anymore.
I'm looking at it. The internet's been weird today.
Okay. Because I went to the story before.
Yeah. It's not much. I mean, it's WTAM, which is never usually much of a story, but.
Right.
It basically says.
I'll find it.
Yeah. The owner of Crop Bistro in Cleveland and Bistro on the Falls. He applied for hundreds of thousands of dollars in relief to supposedly support Crop Bistro, which prosecutors say had already closed. Investigators say Nevis used some of the money to purchase Bistro on the Falls.
Mm.
Yes, a misuse slightly, but nowhere near like the county.
He's getting prison, right?
Yeah, it says he got sentenced to. He's getting he's sentenced to 4 to 6 years in prison.
I remember the article saying that he has to pay back the victims. Who are the victims?
It doesn't say that.
It said it in the audio.
Oh, in the audio. Yeah, what victims is he paying back?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, tax payers, I guess.
Yeah,
right. It was a strange story.
Yeah. All right. Next we have, yes, this is one that we got sent in to us by one of our fabulous listeners. Could be, I mean, in this case, a producer, because he's adding content to the show.
Mm-hmm.
He sent this over yesterday. We just caught it right before the show. And this is from a Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy, if that is your real name. Former Rossford Mayor indicated on nearly a dozen child porn charges. Yeah. So basically, it's a short article. So former Rossford Mayor Louise Bauer was indicted on Wednesday by a Wood County grand jury on 11 charges of pandering sexually oriented material or matter involving a minor, as well as criminal tools possession charge. So they don't have much. There's not much to this article. So the court records allege that he had 8 hard drives, 3 laptops, 4 cell phones, and 1 desktop computer. Sounds like a lot, but I looked around my room and I'm like, yeah, I've got about that. I mean, they're not filled with porn or anything, but it seems like you look at it like, wow, 8 hard drives, 3 laptops, 4 cell phones. Well, in my house, you if they raided my house, they would find more that and more. Here's the interesting one: 2 camcorders, 22 flash drives.
Oh my god!
And then, of course, this I don't know. This is probably from way back in the day, so we might have been doing this for a while. 39 CDs.
I started back in 2004.
Yeah, I got to back this stuff up. I got to have. We got 3, 2, 1 for your backup. So that's. We'll keep an eye on that. Yuck. Just because you found them, just because he had all these things doesn't mean. Well, I mean, they're just saying they collected this, and now they have to investigate.
That's pretty damning, though.
22 flash drives is quite a bit. That's quite a bit of flash drives.
3 lap. Well, okay.
Like that was my point. I went, I mean, that's a lot of stuff, and then I went 1, 2, 3. I was like, wait, I got that many hard drives in this room right now. Maybe 6.
So, he's 73.
Yes. So, and he was mayor from 1975 to 1991. So he hasn't been mayor in quite some time.
Better look for the floppy disk.
Oh. That's a double meaning, I have a feeling.
Oh, well, it could, I guess.
Anywho, at 73, it's definitely a floppy disk. Oh. And no. Okay, moving along. Oh, here's a good one. Some residents say, flock no to surveillance tech as Cleveland mulls contract renewal. Listen to a quick clip from the idea stream. Flock no.
Some Cleveland residents say the city should not renew its contract with a surveillance company that supplies automatic license plate readers. I'm IdeaStream Public Media's Abby Marshall with more from a protest at City Hall Wednesday. Bryn Adams of the Flock No Coalition says the data collected by Flock Safety's license plate readers is personally invasive and potentially dangerous to residents.
I don't want to be followed everywhere I go. I don't want the city of Cleveland to know which doctor's appointments I'm going to, whose houses I'm going to.
Well, if you're not doing anything wrong, what's the problem?
Of worship, that's my business. It's not the city of Cleveland's business.
Flock cameras capture images of every passing vehicle, collecting license plate numbers and vehicle characteristics. Police say it helps track down criminal suspects and find stolen cars. Mayor Justin Bibb's administration proposed expanding Flock's contract to replace the city's existing gunshot detection tech this winter. That proposal stalled. Bibb told council members Tuesday he would leave Flock renewal options to them. The city's contract ends June 28th. Abby Marshall, IdeaStream Public Media.
So join us in saying, Flock no.
Did you listen to Joe Rogan with Mark Andreessen on it? Andreessen?
I think I saw some of it, but I don't remember him speaking of that.
He was just on this past week, and boy, he's trying to sell that Flock camera.
Really?
Yeah, he's probably got money behind it. I think he owns it, or the technology at least.
Yeah, when in doubt, just scan every single car, every single license plate. I mean, what could go wrong?
He was really trying to say, he's like, don't you want to live in a safer society? It's like,
oh my goodness.
Not when it comes to recording everything.
What's the quote? Those who
give up, or those that trade safety or liberty for a little bit of safety
deserve
neither.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. That's been around forever, though. That quote, obviously.
Suicidal empathy. Oh, but the safety of the children means.
Okay, now do the Patriot Act.
Yes. I do remember certain family members on Facebook, when I used to be on Facebook, that when I was saying, are you crazy? Look at this. Oh, as long as you're not doing, that's why I was saying in the clip, as long as you're not doing anything wrong.
Oh, I probably said it myself before I grew up a little.
And then I said, my response when Trump got in office was like, hey, how's that working for you now? Because I think some family members on both sides, mine and yours, mostly yours, but okay, moving along. Yeah, so that's Flock no. I just got a ticket in the mail for a traffic camera for speeding from 6 months ago.
What?
Yeah, because I was at a rental car.
Oh, okay.
And it took that long to track me down, apparently. Yeah. $196.
Yeah, for how much? How far over?
Oh, it was 38 to 25.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So
where the hell was that camera?
I don't. It says on the thing. I don't remember. Garfield Heights or something like that. I think. I don't know.
On a side street. Oh, it's probably a main road where there's a lot of businesses.
Yeah, I can't remember. It says it gives you the street on. I don't remember which one it was at.
Yeah.
It took everything in me not to burn it, but cheaper to pay it, I guess, than to burn it. And I guess moving on to our last story of the quick takes segment, we've got pull it up. House Speaker Matt Huffman says Cuyahoga County won't get a sin tax vote this year. So there's a push to triple or quadruple the county's sin tax. But Ohio lawmakers are saying, no, not this year. what's the sin tax? If those remember, that's the tax that paid for the current ballpark, the arena, and the football stadium they're about to tear down. And what it doesn't, so this was done to put in to pay for the stadiums, and over the last years, it's been used to keep maintenance up on the stadiums. But it's highly underfunded because prices have gone up, but also people smoke and drink less. And what they want to do is triple or quadruple it because it's not enough money to keep up with the maintenance on these buildings. And I'm thinking, I get it, but there's some other multi-millionaire and billionaires that could probably pitch in a little bit, like, I don't know, the Dolans. Not that they haven't already, but geez, oh man, how much of money, what percentage of money that you profit from those games do you put towards upkeep of the building? Again, not part of the contract. I think it is up to the city, but that's a bunch of crap. They said, nope, not this year. So they're going to try again next year. So the currently is set at 16 cents per gallon of beer, $3 per gallon of liquor, and 4.5 cents per pack of cigarettes. Quadrupling those would make it 27 cents for beer, for a 750 ml bottle of liquor to be $1.78 a bottle. Pack of cigarettes would be 14 cents. No to that this year. And as we get towards the end of the show, we got to our good things segment.
We bring good things to life.
These are a couple quick ones. They're good stuff because we got some improvement, some development. It looks as though Lorain County Waterfront is going to start. They've got $1 million grant to make major steps towards Lorain's waterfront redevelopment. And basically, they've gotten a almost $1 million grant from Ohio Brownfield Remediation Program, to support cleanup and new infrastructure at a former steel industrial site. Yeah. It's a broader, they're trying to clean up, add more boat ramps, and try to get more access to the lakefront, which is good. I think they need to clean up this kind of stuff. And I mean, we have this great lake that most of the time it's okay. Sometimes it's a little stinky.
I've never gone to Lorain to spend any time by the lakefront. So.
I don't think there's much there. I think that's kind of the
point.
There's a couple docks, but there's a beach maybe. I did if you watch the clip, there's a guy at the beach looking for gold.
I've rented boats in Avon to go fishing, so that's about it. Yeah.
So this grant will give them money to clean up an area and kind of move the project forward as they look for more money to help revitalize, put more beaches in, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
That's kind of cool. Next one is another good development project, Conneaut. Conneaut lands a $1.4 billion development for an EV battery materials plant, edging out Warren, Ohio for the project. And kind of like, I looked at it and I was like, EV battery plant? I'm like, really? I mean, it's better than the data center, right?
Well,
there should actually be jobs there.
Weren't there battery plants being built in Columbus? And they're empty?
There's battery plants in Columbus. They're not empty, but they're not necessarily making the amount of batteries that they're promised, or any batteries at all in some cases. But this is a chemical plant, it says.
Okay, so they're just making the material for the battery.
A Vancouver-based company that specializes in EV battery materials.
Okay.
Now
that doesn't sound safe either.
There's that too, I guess. And where the hook for me was, this is a 200-acre site that allows direct access to the lake area, which kind of makes me nervous with EV battery materials. But it already has existing power infrastructure in place. But it appears that this land has been vacant for, 30 or 40 years.
I'll tell you what, it's too far out, but you could get a pretty good deal out in Conneaut for a bit of land and a house. Seems like this might be a good thing for that area.
Yeah. The site chosen by Graphite One, as a well-known to many sites in the area. It's U.S. Steel once planned to build the largest steel mill in the world there. A $3 billion project in the 70s, and never happened.
Oh, damn. They should revitalize that.
Yeah. And that's what I looked at. I'm thinking farmland is not going to be an EV plant again. And this is is this really a good thing? And then when you look into it, no, this site has already basically been an industrial site that has been unused if you look at the map for decades. So this is actually not a bad deal.
Cool.
I like it. And that's it. That's all we got for today. Internet issues and all. We made it through it, Tom. We made it through it. So proud of us. So proud. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate your time. If you could share the show with your friends and family, we really appreciate it. Send us a link or send us your links, your stories, your shenanigans in your neighborhood, crookedrivercast@gmail.com. And please check out the blog, crookedrivercast.com. And on that note, we'll talk to you next week.
Peace.